Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to a new edition of the Genesys Community's Q&A show, the show where we answer your pressing questions in the Genesys Cloud online community. My name is Matt Lawson. I am your online community manager, and like so many of you, I am entering my second week of being quarantined. From my end, everything is going fine. My bar is still pretty stocked. And if you hang on long enough or listen closely, you may just hear the pitter-patter of my wife's feet above me or whatever episode of Grey's Anatomy she is listening to. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in during this time. I'm very appreciative to have friends like you joining me as we hunker down for a little bit together. And I hope you and your loved ones are safe and surrounded by all of the comforts that you could ask for, especially toilet paper. Now, I have some pretty good news. For joining me today, 3 of you will have the chance to win a Genesys exam voucher, compliments of our Beyond team. So stay tuned. Later in the episode, I'll be explaining how you can win that coveted prize. If you've joined us before, you know that in most episodes of this show, we focus on answering questions from the community. But given everything that's going on and so many people now having the opportunity to work from home or needing to be remote, we wanted to share some of the online learning opportunities that Genesys has available for you, just in case you need a very valid excuse to step away from your loved one or Grey's Anatomy for just a little while. So our episode is going to cover content that is ideal for brand new users of Genesys Cloud and seasoned veterans alike. It's got a little something for everyone. Why wait? Let's get started and explore the world of Genesys education. Our first stop is going to be for the brand new users of Genesys. Let's meet Jessica Bobbitt. She manages the Genesys onboarding team and has a recurring webinar series that is a great way to learn Genesys starting at the ground floor. Hey Jessica, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm good, doing very well. Jessica, you're relatively new to Genesys. How are things going in your tenure?
They're going well. It's exciting times as we see lots of growth in Genesys Cloud, which is mainly where I work.
Perfect, yes. And we wanted to have you on the show because you're actually managing a new team to Genesys that's really exciting. Do you want to talk a little bit about what your team's doing and how some people in the community might be able to catch up with you?
Absolutely. My team of onboarding specialists works with customers who are implementing a Genesys Cloud subscription. So it could be a new customer, it could be a new location and instance of Genesys Cloud. And we really get to share best practices with those customers to help them see value as soon as possible.
Awesome. And part of why we wanted to have you on today is moving forward as part of the Q&A show, your team will be doing semi-regular segments where they also come on the show and share best practices, right?
Yes, we are going to share some tips, again, things we have seen across customer questions, or we have a webinar series where we share some common questions and how to find answers for those.
Awesome. Well, I know today we wanted to just start briefly because there's a feature that actually comes included with your Genesys subscription, especially your Pure Cloud subscription or Genesys Cloud subscription, that a lot of our current users may not know about. Is that correct?
Indeed. So the wall board, which is a kind of dashboard feature that can showcase performance metrics, a free wall board is now included with every Genesys Cloud subscription.
Cool. Well, go ahead and take it away. I can't wait to learn more about this.
Thank you. So here we have our pit stop with the onboarding crew. We're going to focus on the wall board that's included with your Genesys Cloud subscription. Wallboard is really a performance dashboard. So you can share one or multiple performance metrics. No license is required for the first wallboard. So this is really key. Previously, you had to have a user license to be able to utilize this functionality. We've now included one dashboard, one wallboard dashboard with each of your Genesys Cloud subscriptions. You can highlight a key metric, project it in a common area. So maybe there's a goal for this month or this quarter, and you really want that to be up and in front of the end users of Genesys Cloud. Wallboard is the best way to do that. And here's our example. You can see we have a couple metrics highlighted and then kind of a service level trend line chart at the bottom. This wallboard is utilizing all of the space and really looking at metrics that we're probably paying attention to across various components of our business. The longest wait, waiting for a particular queue, what the interaction with a certain end user role is. Again, you could choose to highlight multiple metrics such as this, or focus in on one key metric for a particular area. The wallboard does let you edit and change the metrics that you're showing. So you can do that as often as you'd like.
That's awesome. So is the idea with this kind of like what I've seen at some other offices where you might have like a popular area where maybe a lot of your teammates sit or something like that, and the wallboard is something that would be presented up on a TV for everybody to look at? Is that what you're thinking? Okay.
Absolutely. So sharing that where people can see, how are we doing? Maybe I feel like there's a long wait time, and instead of just guessing or IMing others to see, it's all projected. Or as a manager, you might understand that already, but being able to point it out to the end users in the contact center can be super helpful.
Awesome. And I understand you wanted to real quickly just show in the Resource Center where people can learn more about how to set this up, what custom fields are included and all that. Is that correct?
Yes. So you have access to the instructions really easily at your fingertips. In the Resource Center, there is this article, Create a Wallboard Account. So this is the Genesys Cloud, or you can see the Pure Cloud Resource Center is how it's labeled, and the wallboard account instructions are here. So if you scroll down, there are some really key instructions. So it does require permission at a specific level, and really that's tied to a user role. And this is going to be key to utilizing that free wallboard with your subscription. You have to set up the user role and then assign the permission to that role, and then you can edit it as you wish moving forward.
Gotcha. And when you started this presentation, I saw you had a picture of the Knowledge Network up. Is this something that you'll then be able to get to through the Knowledge Network?
Yes, you can use the Search the Brain tool and it would give you the results. If you type in the keyword of wallboard, it will take you.
Awesome.
And one other key piece. So I've mentioned you can edit or share metrics. Maybe you have a monthly or quarterly metric or goal you're trying to highlight. There is a related article that shows the available metrics that you can showcase within the wallboard. This is really interesting to me. So there may be Q metrics. We go through and define what each of those metrics are. And then there's other categories. You can see there's a lot to choose from. If I scroll all the way down, you can see the other categories of metrics. So again, you can choose to show multiple. I think there were 12 or 15 on the example we showed, or you may just have one large one that you're highlighting.
Awesome. But as long as it's customizable, you can throw as many of these up on your wallboard as you want. Is that correct?
I think there's some space availability, but yeah, you can maybe get up to 16. So there's a lot to choose from.
Plenty of room. Awesome. Well, to make things easier for everybody, we will share a link to these instructions with the episode. And Jessica, we can't wait to have another session like this with you and your team in the future.
Absolutely. We want to boost your performance here with the onboarding crew.
Awesome. Well, let's help everybody out a little bit. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.
For those of you who've been watching our Genesys Cloud version of the Q&A show, you may remember our frequent expert and one of our best good friends, George. Well, George has recently switched to a new role and will now be able to be part of the show in a more routine capacity. Great news for me. We're thinking about calling the segment By George, but maybe you have a better idea. In any case, feel free to write in at qashow@genesys.com and let us know. In the meantime, let's catch up with our friend, toss a couple of darts at his board, and see what's going on. George, how have you been, my man?
Doing well. Just hanging out here in my basement, working away like everybody else at our offices these days.
You're still managing to get work done with that awesome-looking dartboard behind you, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. I use it to help me decide how to answer questions on Community. I just throw something up there, and it's like, whatever number comes up, that's what I choose to answer, how to answer, that kind of thing. It helps.
Cool. Well, anyway, welcome to your first very own segment on the Q&A show. Are we going with the title By George? Is that correct? Is that what we're going to stick with?
Unless you can think of something better.
Well, let's go ahead and check out the question for this week. It comes to us from Nafal, and you mentioned you found this one 6 days ago. Cool. And Nafal wanted to know about emails. He writes, "Dear team, we would like to know that if my agent sends a reply to a mail with wrong or false information and the supervisor realized the mistake, how can I reply on the sent mail or recall the email?" George, I know you kind of left a reply here, but the beauty of this segment is you actually get to do more of a virtual walkthrough and hopefully try to give some additional information. So what advice do you have for our friend Nafal?
Yeah, and one of the first things, I think Paolo gave a quick answer at the bottom in addition to what I said, and it does depend on which mail server is handling the mail as to how you approach it. Some companies actually use their own server, either forward or connect that domain into the Genesys Cloud email system. So if it's on your own email server and you have the ability to go into a mailbox and maybe recall the email from there, from your mail server, great, you can do that, or reply directly from your own email server. You can pull it up and just send a reply from there. But I'm going to talk mainly about how you would do it from within Genesys Cloud itself, just because that's what everybody's going to have. And this is something everybody could do. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And so here I am in Genesys Cloud. And let's say I'm a supervisor and I was going through and I noticed in the interactions view on my queues activity, being a good supervisor, I'm checking on my agents, seeing what they're doing. Here's the customer service queue and interactions tab. So I noticed here, I've got a couple of emails that were received and replied to. Looking at the specific interaction, I can see here, question came in from george@gmail.com. Great customer of ours. Graham Alexander is the agent I am pretending to be right now. And click from at the bottom here, expand so I can see the reply that the agent sent. And I see, oh, shoot. Agent replied, you can find help at help.purecloud.com, which is not our for the resource center. So now I need to try and send a response on behalf of this agent or somehow respond to this customer to let them know that that was incorrect information. Agents don't have access to this view, so I can't, as an agent, just go in and correct this right now myself. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to copy the subject in prep for what I'm going to do in a moment. So let's copy that subject. And then I'm going to go into interaction view, which is the agent view for being on an ACD queue. I'm not on queue right now, but I'm going to start an interaction on queue. I'm going to send an email. And I cannot send it specifically on the conversation ID that's associated with that one email. I'm just going to send a whole new email, start a whole new conversation on behalf of this queue. This is one way of doing it. So the recipient email, if you remember, is georgeganol@gmail.com. If this were somebody in our external contacts, it actually does a search. So if this email were in our external contacts, it would pop up that contact here, and I could just select the person from our external contacts, send it back to. In this case, this person is not in our external contacts. So I hit enter, and that opens up an email. Pretty simple here. I'm just going to paste in, Control V, the subject, and I'm going to go back to that other view, and I'm just going to copy the previous response that the agent gave, just so we have it for reference in this email. So I'm going all the way up to the top here. I'm going to copy that bit, expand this back out so I can actually see it, and I'm going to paste it in. And then I'm going to type the message I wanted in response. And then give below what's incorrect. And I'll put in the right one. And then I can sign it. And then it's ready to go. I've got the right link here this time, and I click send. And then that email goes out to the customer. It's got the same subject. It's from the customer service address. And then if I look in performance, interactions, or performance, queues activity, go back to that same queue, interactions. I can see that outbound email went, and there's that response. So that's one way of doing it. If I go back over and I check the emails there in George Ganol's Gmail account, I can see that this reply came in. I can click on the links, all that kind of stuff. And there was a previous response that came in from the agent. So that's one way of doing it. Another quick look, just to cover the other response I gave, is you can go into the developer tools, and in the API Explorer, if you go into conversations, emails, there is one which is send an email reply, and that one's based on the conversation ID. So this requires that the supervisor or whoever has the rights to go in and actually use the developer center and use the API. So I'll have to have a few extra permissions assigned to be able to do that. Not everybody's going to be able to do that. The agent normally won't be able to do this. But say somebody does have the permissions, they could just come in here, take the conversation ID, copy that, paste it in here, and then you have a lot of manual work to do. You have to actually put in the names, the to address, the from, all that kind of stuff. You need to put in manually the body and so on. And then you could send that request over the API, and it should send an email out as a reply on that particular conversation. This is a lot harder because it's a lot more manual for creating the email. So I usually prefer the interface way, but it's a possibility you can do this.
Cool.
So hopefully that covers everything that was asked.
Awesome. Yeah. By George. That's a great answer. That's fine. Anyway, I do have a question for you. When you are sending, like in your first example, where you replied on behalf of Graham or whoever it was, in the back end, how can you tell that Graham didn't actually send that second message, but it was sent by like, the manager or whomever?
So basically, the interaction details should have that information down below. So we'll look at the details, and you can see here, you've got the queue that was sent on behalf of, and then the internal participant is Graham Alexander. That's the person who actually sent the email on behalf of the queue. And then the external participant, the person they sent it to. So yeah, you should be able to see that fairly easily in the details on the interaction.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, hey, George, thanks so much for giving Nafal some help there. And we'll catch you on the next episode for another segment of By George.
Sounds good. Thanks, Matt.
All right, later. All right, we leave the basements of solitude into the world of Beyond. For those of you who may not be familiar with Genesys University's new Beyond site, we are going to check in with my pal Jeff for a quick tour of what the site is and how to use it, and then we'll visit Sheila to get an overview of our certification program. Off we go. Hey Jeff, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing well, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. And why don't you go ahead and just right now, go ahead and tell us a little bit about the Beyond site, like just an overview, a quick pitch. What is it? How can the community members use it? Stuff like that.
So this is genesys.com/beyond. And the first thing you'll notice about Beyond is that we are really focused on developing customer experience professionals and creating a community for them to showcase their knowledge through training and certification. And so Beyond is really comprised of two different parts. So as we kind of scroll down here on the page, we'll see Explore and Create. So Explore is really the old Genesys University. It is our training and certification platform where you can take training on Pure Cloud, Pure Engage, Pure Connect, and then associated certifications to kind of test your knowledge and develop your expertise.
Perfect. Let's see what it's about.
So let me just jump in and show you what it looks like if you're a logged in user who has a learning subscription assigned to you.
So when you say a learning subscription, what do you mean?
So I mean somebody that's, let's take a, Pure Cloud or Genesys Cloud as it's now called, customer who has said, we just bought Pure Cloud. We want to get up and running on it. We want to support the system ourselves. So I need training. Well, they've reached out to us and we've assigned them this learning subscription to say, you now have access to our entire training catalog for Pure Cloud. And we have a variety of courses that you can now take. You can do them as self-study. You can do them as instructor-led, maybe in one of our public classrooms, or you can also attend virtual. And let's say that you as a user, you might be more of a technical or developer type. You take a course at the beginning of this year, you get to October and you say, I need a refresher on this. Well, for free, as part of your subscription, you can go right back in and take that course as many times as you want, in fact, throughout the year. And you also have access to the digital ebooks, which are available for the entire year. And that's actually one thing I wanted to jump in and show our users here.
Sure, go for it.
So let's take a look at this Pure Cloud reporting and analytics. One of the great things too, while this is logging in, that you'll notice, seamless sign-on across all of the Genesys properties. So for those that are already logged in on the community or the Genesys Knowledge Network or the Resource Center, we use the same single sign-on authentication. So you can hop around between all of those sites without having to re-enter your password. So yeah, we're in here now into our learning platform. And this is a course where I've actually already, jumped in here. So I'll actually pick up where I left off. And this is one of our digital ebooks. And what's really nice about these is that they can supplement training that's done in the classroom. So your instructor is going to be walking you through this over the course of 1, 2, or 3 days, depending upon the length of the course. But you can come back to this at any time. You don't even have to attend that course. You can actually go right into this today, day one, if you're a subscriber, and walk yourself through this content at your own pace. And so you'll kind of see here as I scroll throughout, well, we've got interactive video. We've got dynamic side-scrolling graphics, screenshots. And then really a great thing here is embedded learning checks. So for those people that are, trying to reinforce their knowledge and then also preparing maybe for certification, we're going to drop these learning checks throughout the course so that you can kind of get a barometer of where you're at. And then for anybody that's taking this as virtual with an instructor or maybe in one of our public classrooms, we have all of our embedded lab assignments in here. And what these are is your instructor is going to set you up with your own virtual environment where you can play around with the technology. Can't break anything, so it's a safe environment to do that. And you have access to that 30 days after taking the course. So yeah, embedded right here within this ebook.
Cool, that's awesome. So even though this is looks like a virtual course, you still have an instructor that you're interacting with throughout it?
If you choose to do so. So that's a good question. Let's take a look at, if you're going to take one of our virtual courses. So I'm going to look at our Pure Cloud Workforce Management here. You actually have to register for this. And when you click continue, so it's showing me that I've registered for this upcoming course in April. It's a 2-day course, and you'll actually come back to this site to get logged in to the virtual course, which is hosted then by a live instructor.
Okay, cool. And then you just have the supplemental materials to go with it. That's awesome.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Very cool. Well, yeah, this looks great. And anything else you want to show us before we move on? I think it would be I think our next stop is going to be with Sheila to get a better understanding of the new subscription model. So, but anything about the site in general that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so Sheila will cover this, but she'll talk a lot about certification, and you'll notice here that on your dashboard, it lists your certification badges, and this ties directly in with our certification system, and it notes the expiration date and that this is the Genesys Certified Associate for Pure Cloud. So any certifications you get through our badging system, a claim, tied directly into your dashboard and beyond, and kind of notifying you of those upcoming expirations.
Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for that information. Now, where you left off was talking about certification. So let's hop over and talk with Sheila, because she's going to run through the certification contest. And my guess is she'll be the person who can tell us more about this contest. So let's go ahead and meet Sheila. Sheila, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, doing well. Sheila, this is the first time you've ever been on the show. I know you and I have known each other for a couple of years, but for the people who haven't met you yet, do you mind please going ahead and just introducing yourself real quick?
Hey, everybody. I am Sheila. I manage the certifications program, and I've been part of the Genesys University team for over 3 years now.
Okay, great. And we just heard from Jeff, Sheila, as you and I have talked about, and he kind of walked us through the new Beyond platform, which is really exciting. And he also touched on the ideas of subscriptions. And what you do is kind of related to that. You manage our certification program. So what I'd love to hear from you is, can you tell us a little bit about what certification program means if you have a subscription, and then maybe touch on what it means if you don't have a subscription? I think that'd be a great place to start.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you first about what happens if you don't have a subscription. Each of our certification exams is priced at about $500 US. So when you have a subscription, you get you get one exam voucher per certification exam within that product platform. For example, if you sign up for the Pure Cloud subscription, there are 4 exams that are currently available in Pure Cloud certifications, and you get 4 vouchers where you sign up for the Pure Cloud subscription free of cost. However, if you don't have a subscription, to take each of those exams, you'll have to pay $500 per exam. So that's the difference subscription makes to your certification exams.
Gotcha. Awesome. Terrific. Well, so let's imagine I'm in the Beyond site. I've taken a course. What does it mean now as a student to go and take a certification? Like, what's
I'm going to show you. Like? Yeah, I'm going to show you real quick how you can go ahead and look at the certifications that are available for the desired product platform, and how you can look up the details of each of our certification exams, and how you can go sign up for an exam.
So Sheila, from what I understand, this is the site that you're showing us right now is not live yet, but it's coming roughly at the end of this week, right? So by the time this episode is up, people may only have to wait a few more days before they can actually get to this site. Is that correct?
That is correct. We are moving away from our old learning management system onto a whole new system. So this site is going to be available to everybody by the end of this week or early next week.
Perfect. Well, go ahead and walk us through it.
So this is the home page of the certifications program. So on the right side, you can see a few links to all of the available documentation around the policies. We also have documents around how people can sign up for a certification exam, how they can claim their digital badge, and the Genesys Technical Certification Guide lists all of the certification exams that are currently available with Genesys University. And we've also included a link to contact our support team if people are stuck or if they have any questions or queries. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Genesys Technical Certification Guide to look at the list of available certifications. Now, one thing I'd like to point out here is we're working with multiple applications, like we're working with multiple vendors to administer our certification exams. Criterion, our web assessor, is our exam management partner, and Acclaim is our partner for assigning digital badges. So here is our certification guide. I'm going to show you real quick on how you can look up the details of one of the Pure Cloud exams. I am interested in taking up the GCP certification, and this certification comprises 3 exams. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the exam guide for the first exam. And this takes you.
Sorry, just a real quick question thinking about what you were just showing, because you showed like the overall certification and then the different exams. So those different exams, you're saying without a subscription, taking each of those exams one time would be $500, right? So to get
that is correct.
Certification, it would be the 3 exams. So, okay, cool. Just checking.
It's going to be $1,500.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so this is the link to the certification, the study guide for the Genesys Certified Professional Pure Cloud Contact Center Administration course. So the study guide or the exam guide contains all of the information that a user needs to know before they take up an exam. So on the left side, you can see the curriculum path, how the exam is to be delivered, and what the objectives for the exam are. And we also have some practice questions as part of the study guide. So the practice questions enable a user to really prep themselves up before they take on the actual exam.
Gotcha. So a good chance that those practice questions won't exist on the exam. Is that what you're telling me?
That's absolutely correct. They may not exist on the exam.
All right, fair enough.
I'd also like to show you the exam platform or web assessor where somebody can sign up for the exam.
Perfect.
So this is the home page of web assessor, who's our exam partner. So if I'd like to sign up for an exam, generally Genesys University sends out a voucher code to me, and using the voucher code, I can sign up for an exam here. All that I'll have to do is to go ahead and click the register for an exam, and it's going to show me all of the catalogs that are available for me. And I can choose the exam that I want to from this list.
Okay, perfect.
And most of our exams are online proctored. Some of the exams can also be taken up from a test center. So it's totally up to a user to decide on whether they would like to take the exam at a Criterion test center, or if they would like to take it from the comfort of their home office.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that tour. So you mentioned that people can still take exams and stuff from the comfort of their own home, right?
Correct. That is correct.
Certification's great. Has everything going on in the world with COVID-19 or the coronavirus, how has it impacted the ability to like proctor exams and stuff like that? I mean, obviously, I would assume the public test taking is over, but what's it like to take an exam from your own home?
You can take exams from home, not just because of the recent outbreak of COVID-19. If you have to take the exam from home for whatever reasons, you're allowed to take it. And now, because of COVID-19, web assessor has actually closed down some of their test centers, and they've been contacting users and informing them, and they're helping users to reschedule their exams that are scheduled in test centers to convert them into online exams. So typically, when you sign up for an online proctored exam with Criterion, they make you install a software called Sentinel, which makes sure that when you're on the exam, you will not be allowed to open any other browser other than the exam window. There's also going to be a proctor who will actually ensure that you have an external USB webcam. The camera will have to be positioned in such a way that the proctor can view the user or the test taker along with their surroundings. If the test taker is wearing glasses, they will have to show up their glasses in front of the camera, just so that the proctor can ensure that they're not Google glasses or special glasses, and then the test taker is allowed to put them back on.
Gotcha.
No test aids are permitted during any of our exams. The only exam during which we permit test aids, including Google Translate, are the Genesys Certified Associate Pure Cloud exam, because it is an open book exam.
Oh, nice. Very nice. So for that one in particular, no need to have somebody with cue cards in the background or anything like that. You can just have your book in front of you. That's terrific.
That is correct.
Great. Awesome, Sheila. So let's imagine the test goes well and I've, passed all of the exams to get the certification that I need. What then? How do I see the certification, on my profile, or where can I find that information?
Okay. After you've completed your exam, we trigger a digital badge. So the user would get an email from youracclaim.com. I'm going to share my screen real quick. So this is what an email from Youracclaim looks like. So you get an email that says you've earned a badge from Genesys. You can also see the badge. All that the user will have to do is to click the accept your badge button, and then the badge gets added to their Acclaim profile.
Awesome. Great. So then that means like you can share your Acclaim profile with your mom, your wife, your boyfriend, and of course, I guess any prospective employers could view it there also. Is that correct?
That is correct. You can share your badge on your social media profile wherever you'd like, and you can share it via Twitter, Facebook, all possible social media. And you can also share it. There's a separate URL that you can share with all your prospective employers to click and verify that you've received the badge.
Awesome. And as part of this episode, I understand we're going to be giving an exam away. Is that right?
That is correct. We're going to give away a few vouchers.
So everybody who emails, we're going to pick 3 winners for your chance to get a free exam with Genesys. So, good luck in that. And what a great way to maybe kill some time while you're locked at home, right?
And
Sure.
Also enable your prospects for a better career.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And maybe you'll learn something. I don't know. All right, cool. Sheila, thanks so much for stopping by. Anything else you want to share while you're here?
No, I'm good for now. Thanks for hosting us here, Matt. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And hope to have you back on the show very shortly. In the meantime, if you want to interact with Sheila, she is always on our certification and training community. So you can always find her there. Yet again, thanks so much for stopping by. All right. That's it for this week. Again, please write in to qashow@genesys.com for your chance to win an exam voucher. In the email, feel free to share what exam you would be most interested in talking, or whatever suits your fancy. Maybe you like my wife's taste in television. I'm being hard on her. Maybe you have a question about my taste in brandies, or if George is a good dart player. All comments are fair game, and you'll be entered into that drawing where 3 people will have a chance to win a certification exam voucher. Until then, I will see you next time. Please stay safe, stay cozy, stay educated. Cheers, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in for this week's episode. We hope it was helpful and maybe a little bit entertaining. Each week, our hosts and experts review community discussions and debate what content to discuss, so your voice matters. Did we miss something? Do you have a question for the show? Let us know. Join the conversation at the Genesys online community. As a Genesys customer or partner, you can create an account. Just click the sign in button found on most pages and follow the necessary instructions to create an account. Also, feel free to email us at qashow@genesys.com. We'd love to hear from you. If this is your first episode, welcome. You can view our entire archives. Go to the helpful links panel found on most community pages and find the QA Show archive that interests you. We appreciate your support of the show and the community. Cheers!